Okay, so let's get right into it. We're about to talk about a massive rebalancing of global power, a tense, really competitive new world order that's going to define the next decade. And here's the most important thing you need to know right up front. The old rules, yeah, they just don't apply anymore. You know, this isn't just some dramatic line from a movie. It is the hard truth of where we are right now. The world order most of us grew up with, the one with clear lines and pretty stable alliances, it's changing in a really fundamental way. And that right there is the single most important question in international affairs today. But the answer, well, it isn't simple. It's not one country, it's not one alliance. It's actually a super complex and fascinating puzzle, and that's what we're going to piece together. So, does this mean we're just heading for total global chaos? Well, not exactly. The analysis is telling us that the old US-led order isn't really collapsing, it's just thinning out. And in its place, a new system is emerging. It's definitely more disorderly, but it's still manageable. And this is the key concept we have to get our heads around for the next decade: managed disorder. Think of it like this. It's a world where rivalries are getting way more intense and conflicts are all interconnected, but there are these powerful structural guardrails in place that are stopping the whole system from just collapsing. So what are these guardrails holding everything together? Well, there are three main ones. First, you've got nuclear deterrence, which makes a direct war between the big powers pretty much unthinkable. Second, we're all so deeply tied together economically, a complete break would be absolutely catastrophic for everyone. And third, there's constant back-channel diplomacy going on behind the scenes, managing crises before they spin out of control. Okay, so if the world isn't collapsing into chaos, where can we actually see this managed disorder in action? It's most obvious along two key fronts of instability. Let's take a closer look at those now. So, over in West Asia, you have this high-stakes chess match between Iran and Israel. It's a really tense game of controlled escalation. Then in South Asia, you've got this chronic, simmering instability between Afghanistan and Pakistan. They're two very different kinds of conflicts, but they are both textbook examples of this new era. Let's dive a little deeper into West Asia. What's interesting is that Iran is becoming way more direct with its actions, but everything they do is still carefully calculated. Israel, on the other hand, holds what's called escalation dominance, basically the ability to hit back with overwhelming force if it has to. And this whole dynamic plays out around the supercritical Strait of Hormuz. Iran uses it as a pressure point, a weapon, but a full-on closure, that's off the table. It would trigger a massive global response, and it would hurt its own allies, too. Now let's swing over to South Asia. Pakistan is really caught in a tough spot. It's facing pressure from the instability in Afghanistan on one side, and its long-running rivalry with India on the other. All this external stress, plus its own internal issues, creates this cycle of constant instability. It's like a persistent crisis, but one that always stops just short of an all-out war. Now, these regional conflicts are a big deal, for sure, but you have to understand that they're all just orbiting a much, much larger contest. The central rivalry that is really shaping this new era is between Asia's two giants, China and India. And right here, you can see they're two completely different game plans. On one side, you've got China acting as the system builder. It's trying to create this huge network of economic dependencies that all lead back to Beijing. But on the other side, you've got India playing the role of system balancer. Its strategy is all about multi-alignment, building flexible partnerships with tons of different countries, even rivals like the US and Russia, all to maximize its own strategic freedom. Now, you might look at China and just see its massive economic power, but it's facing some serious long-term headwinds. We're talking about an aging population, a crushing debt burden, and, frankly, a growing distrust from many other nations. And these aren't just minor speed bumps. They are deep, structural problems that are putting the brakes on its global ambitions. India's position, on the other hand, is built on some incredibly powerful core strengths. It has a huge and, importantly, a youthful population. That's a major demographic edge. Its strategy of multi-alignment gives it incredible diplomatic flexibility, and, as we're about to see, its geography gives it a decisive advantage in a really critical part of the world. So where is this big rivalry going to play out most intensely? Well, it's not on some land border. It's on the water, specifically across the vast expanse of the Indian Ocean. So much of today's geopolitics, economic competition, and military strategy really pivots on this one single, narrow waterway. The Strait of Malacca is, without a doubt, probably the most important strategic choke point on the entire planet. And this right here reveals the core imbalance at the heart of their rivalry. China is critically, and I mean critically, dependent on the Strait of Malacca for its energy and trade. It is its economic lifeline. And India, just by sheer luck of geography, sits in a commanding position right next to it, overlooking the whole thing. This really puts it in the simplest terms possible. China's incredible economic power is completely offset by a major geographic vulnerability. And India's rising power is amplified by its amazing location and its super flexible foreign policy. This fundamental imbalance, that's what defines their entire contest. All right, let's pull all of these threads together and put it into a final scorecard. In this new era of managed disorder, what is the ultimate role for each of the major players? This table really lays it all out. You've got India, which is becoming a kind of stability anchor. It's making itself indispensable to multiple competing powers. Then there's China, the system builder, trying to create dependency, but it's hitting a lot of resistance. The Gulf states, they're becoming expert strategic balancers, managing risk by refusing to pick a side. Israel maintains its military edge, its tactical superiority, but it knows it has strategic limits. And then there's Pakistan, operating under what we call strategic compression, basically squeezed by pressures from all sides. So what's the ultimate takeaway from all of this? It's that the coming decade isn't really about chaos. It's about intense selection pressure. It's like a global test of resilience, of strategic thinking, and of the ability to adapt to a whole new game. And is there a winning formula for this test? Absolutely. It's becoming crystal clear. The nations that can maintain their own strategic autonomy while building a diverse web of alliances, they're the ones who are going to rise. And the ones who get trapped by economic dependency or geographic constraints, they're the ones who are going to struggle. And that really is the final lesson of this new global order. Power isn't just about who has the biggest army or the biggest economy anymore. In this era, true power belongs to the nations that can prove themselves to be adaptable, independent, and, most importantly, indispensable.